All right, let's just dive right in. We're about to explore something that is, honestly, almost unbelievable. The fact that the complete instruction manual for building you is packed into a space so tiny you literally cannot imagine it. So here's our game plan. We're going to start our journey in the cell's command center. Then we'll actually deconstruct the DNA molecule, learn its simple four-letter alphabet, and tackle the epic problem of how the cell crams it all in. We'll finish up with a chromosome head count that might just surprise you. Okay, first stop. Let's pinpoint the cell's control center. I mean, think of a cell as this bustling, chaotic city. There's got to be a headquarters running the whole operation, right? And there it is. Floating right there in the cell's cytoplasm, you find the nucleus. You can think of it like a high-security vault right in the middle of the factory floor. It's wrapped up in its own protective bubble, and its number one job is to protect the most valuable asset the cell has, the DNA. So what is this DNA that the nucleus is so busy protecting? Let's, take it apart. Let's deconstruct it and see what it's really made of. At its heart, DNA is what scientists call a polymer. Now, that's just a fancy word for a really, really long molecule made by linking smaller, repeating units together in a chain. A great way to picture it is like a huge train. The whole train is the DNA, and each individual train car is one of those repeating units, called a nucleotide. And what's so wild is how simple each of these building blocks is. Every single one of those train cars, every nucleotide is made of just three basic parts: a sugar, a phosphate group, which is kind of like the coupler that links them all together, and then the most important part, a nitrogenous base. So the sugar and phosphate bits, they link up one after another, over and over again, and form these two incredibly long backbones. This is what creates that famous double helix shape. It's the structural frame for our genetic code, kind of like the sides of a twisting ladder. So we've got the sides of the ladder, but now we get to the really critical part, the rungs. This is where the actual information is, and believe it or not, it's all written with an incredibly simple alphabet made of just 4 chemical letters. And here they are: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and thymine. Or, as we call them, A, G, C, and T. That's it. That's the entire alphabet used to write the instructions for every single living thing on this planet, from a tiny little bacterium to a giant blue whale. It's the specific order of these 4 letters that holds the secret to life. But these letters don't just pair up randomly to form the rungs of the ladder. Nope, they follow a super strict, really elegant rule. It's called complementary base pairing, and it's basically the glue that holds the 2 sides of the DNA ladder together perfectly. And when I say this rule is strict, I mean it's absolute. They are chemically designed to fit together like puzzle pieces. An A on one side will always find a T on the other side, and a C will always find a G. No exceptions. This perfect fit is what gives DNA its incredibly stable and uniform structure. Okay, so we've got this amazingly long ladder molecule. But just how long are we talking about? Well, get this. If you took the DNA from just one of your cells and stretched it all the way out, it would be about 2 meters long. That's about 6 feet. So, yeah, we've got a massive storage problem.
So, how on earth is that possible? How does the cell take a 6-foot-long molecule and cram it into a space you can't even see with the naked eye? Well, the solution is nothing short of a masterpiece of biological engineering.
The cell's solution is to use these tiny little proteins called histones. They act like microscopic spools, and the long, stringy DNA strand is just wrapped tightly around them again and again. It's just like winding thread around a spool, and this coiling process just drastically shortens the DNA, letting it get packed up without turning into one giant tangled mess. But this DNA packaging, it's not a one-time thing. It actually changes its shape depending on what the cell needs to do.
You see, during the cell's normal, day-to-day existence, the DNA is in this kind of relaxed, accessible state, called chromatin. Think of it like a library where all the books are on the shelves, open and ready to be read. But when the cell needs to divide, it has to move the entire library. So it packs all that information up into these super-condensed, portable bundles that we all recognize, chromosomes.
So here's the big takeaway. A chromosome isn't something different from DNA. It is DNA. It's just DNA that's been packaged for travel. This super packed form makes it way easier for the cell to sort its genetic library and split it perfectly between 2 new daughter cells. It makes sure no information gets lost during the move.
Now, the number of these little packaged volumes, the chromosomes, is totally specific to each species.
And when you start comparing them, well, the numbers can be pretty weird.
This is a fantastic illustration that more chromosomes doesn't mean more complexity. I mean, look at this. A tiny fruit fly has 8. We humans have 46, and a dog has 78. So your dog has more chromosomes than you do. It just means its genetic library is organized into more books.
So for our species, the magic number is 46. You will find exactly 46 chromosomes tucked inside almost every single one of the trillions of cells in your body. But there's a better, more accurate way to think about this number.
It's much more accurate to say that we have 23 pairs of chromosomes, and understanding why they're organized into pairs is really the key to understanding how heredity works. And here's why that's so important to you. For every single one of those 23 pairs, one of the chromosomes came from your mom, and its matching partner came from your dad. That means in every cell in your body, you have 2 complete sets of instructions, one from each parent, that work together to make the unique blueprint for you. And that wraps up our journey, from the nucleus all the way down to that simple 4-letter code and back out again. It really leaves you with one final, kind of mind-blowing thought. It's the incredible simplicity of this 4-letter alphabet, combined in nearly infinite ways, that writes the entire, staggering, and beautiful story of life itself.